Morning, everyone, and thank you all for being here. Today, we celebrate a truly monumental investment in childcare with the signing of the 2025-2026 Pennsylvania budget. I want to begin by expressing my deep appreciation to every Democrat and every Republican who worked together to make sure that our kids were taken care of and their families. So thank you. For the first time in more than 20 years since pre-K counts began, childcare now has its own dedicated line item in the state budget. That alone is worth celebrating. Thank you, Pennsylvania legislators. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. It is an honor to welcome Governor Josh Shapiro to Children of God Educational Services, a place where everyone is welcome, where we thank God and serve Him, where we proudly serve His children. Our teachers work together as one team. Our families are hardworking and hopeful. Our students are innovators, the innovators of tomorrow. We guide them one step at a time. Before we continue, I'd like to acknowledge our honored guest, our Bucks County Legislative team, which includes representation from Senator Steve Sanacero via Shannon, Representative Zim Prokopiak. Let's see if I got it right. Did I?
Jim Prokopiak.
Prokopiak.
Yeah.
All right. We worked on this. I promise you we did.
Jim.
By Representative Jim. Thank you. We also welcome Kyle from Brian Fitzpatrick's office, Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick's office. We welcome Rep. Warren's representatives, Dennis and Daniel. And as always, our amazing, amazing Tina Davis, who's here with Brian Allen. So thank you so much. We also acknowledge our awesome mayor, Ralph DiGiuseppe III, our Bristol Borough Council President, Ralph DiGiuseppe, Mr. Bill Pezza, President of Raising the Bar, and Greg Pezza, Council. We also acknowledge any Bucks County Commissioners who may be here or have sent designation in their abstention. Thank you all for being here. I want to also thank our advocacy partners, Tyrone and Sim with First Up, Jen with Panacea, Dan with Children's First, PACA, the United Way of Bucks County, our amazing pre-K counts partner. Thank you. And Donna Gooks from our PA Preschool Program Specialist, as well as Dr. Obiama Martin from OMAX Institute. You are the boots on the ground. You listen to providers. You share our families' stories, and you made sure lawmakers understood the challenges providers were experiencing via teacher retention, affordability for childcare, and access to high-quality childcare. Your unified voice helped to make this budget a reality, and we are grateful, deeply grateful. Here in historic Bristol Borough, community that I love and come from, is a tight-knit, diverse 2-square-mile community where grit and determination define us. We never give up. And today, because of this budget, our governor is helping solve an economic problem. He understands that childcare workers deserve competitive wages, that families need affordable, quality care, and that we, childcare providers, are the workforce behind the workforce. This summer was very hard. The delayed budget cost my organization greatly. But today, in the spirit of gratitude, I choose to focus on progress and on a governor who believes in education, who listens, and more importantly, who delivers. It is my honor to introduce our energetic, intelligent, and dedicated leader, the 48th governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro.
That was awesome. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, Val. And Val's right. We're here in historic Bristol. I always love coming here, but we're not here to talk about our history. We're here to talk about our future. And our future runs right through places like this. I'm sorry to be a little bit late. I was getting hugs and talking to the kids in the other room. They just bring joy into the world, and they are our promise. They are our future. And thanks to wonderful people like Val, they're getting a great start. I want to thank Valerie and her team here for taking care of these children here in Bristol, here in Bucks County. I want you to know I respect the work you do. I think you play such a critical role in our communities, not just for these children, but supporting their working families and caring for these kids in a really deep and personal and meaningful way, and setting the foundation that we need to make progress as a Commonwealth and as a country. I know you give so much of yourselves to take care of these children, and I can really see the joy on their faces. Just when I walked in here in the other room, they are happy, and they are happy, Valerie, because of you and the teachers, pardon me, that enrich their lives every single day. Here at Children of God, I know you serve a higher calling for these children, and I respect that so much, and I appreciate the role that faith plays in the work that you do here. And I want you to know, as your governor, I am incredibly proud to support the work that you do. And in the budget I just signed last week, we are giving back to you and to teachers like you all across this Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I want to acknowledge something Valerie said. It did take too long, certainly longer than I would like. But in the end, I believe that we delivered a final product that makes significant strides in improving Pennsylvanians' lives. I want you to know that Pennsylvania is one of only a few states, 3 across this country, that have what's known as a divided legislature, where the Senate is led by Republicans, the House is led by Democrats. In fact, of the 253 lawmakers, the entire difference between them, partisan difference, is 3, literally 3. So just to give you a sense of how challenging it is to find common ground in these really polarized times, we decided that we were going to stay at the table. We were going to work hard. We were going to fight to deliver for the good people of Pennsylvania. And we knew that we had to compromise, but we were never going to compromise our values and our principles. In the end, after working hard all summer and fall to bring those two sides together, by staying at the table, by holding the line on things like childcare, which mean a whole lot to me, we delivered an historic budget that makes meaningful investments in the people of Pennsylvania, builds on the progress that we made already, and I think charts a really positive course for our future. Today, I wanted to just focus on one specific aspect of the budget, and that is childcare. You know, over the course of my first couple years as your governor, working with leaders like Tina Davis and Jim Prokopiak, or Representative Jim, as he's fondly referred to here in Bucks County, we have worked really hard together to lower the cost of childcare for Pennsylvania families. We did that by tripling the child care tax credit here in the Commonwealth. That puts money back in people's pockets when they're trying to afford child care. Last year, because of our work together, we were able to help 220,000 working Pennsylvania families who needed help affording child care by putting $136.5 million back into their pockets. That's a big deal. And to add to helping lower the cost of child care, for the first time ever, we created the Employer Child Care Contribution Tax Credit, which encourages businesses here in Bucks County and all across Pennsylvania to make contributions to their employees' child care and be able to write that off. Taken together, these two changes are helping make child care more affordable all across Pennsylvania. I want to be very clear about something. This isn't something I'm hopeful for. This isn't something that is aspirational. This is something we got done. This is law in Pennsylvania, and people are benefiting from that hard work. And it represented a huge step forward when it comes to affording childcare. But I'm here to talk about the fact that it only addresses half of the challenge, the affordability piece, and we've done a good job on that. We also have to focus on the availability piece in making sure that childcare is available to those who need it in rural, urban, and suburban communities. We need to invest in our childcare workers who form the backbone of this critical workforce. And that's what this budget did. We doubled down on the investment in childcare by investing in the people that work in it. Consider this for a moment. There are 3,000 vacancies in childcare all across Pennsylvania today. 3,000. If we just filled those 3,000 vacancies, there would be 25,000 more slots for young people all across Pennsylvania. So we're doing something about it by getting more childcare workers into our classrooms. The budget that I just signed into law, for the first time ever, allots $25 million. You talked about this. For the first time ever, we have a childcare line in the budget. $25 million specifically earmarked for recruitment and retention bonuses for childcare workers at licensed childcare facilities across Pennsylvania. As a result of this budget, again, not aspirational, not hopeful, this is now law in Pennsylvania. We got it done. As a result of that work, 55,000 childcare workers across Pennsylvania will get a bonus of up to $450 in recognition for the important work that they do. That includes young teachers like Madison, who you're going to hear from in a moment, who are just starting a career in childcare. And that's what this program is all about, making it just a little bit easier for someone like Madison to make a decision to become a childcare provider and stay in this field for the long term. We need people like Madison doing this important work. And so that's why we've taken this two-pronged approach to addressing the childcare needs across Pennsylvania, making it more affordable by putting over $130 million back in people's pockets who are trying to afford childcare, and making it more available for families by opening up more slots, by hiring more teachers. Listen, I want to close with this. A budget, to me, isn't just a series of numbers on a spreadsheet. It's a statement of our priorities in investing in the things that matter most, from our schools to our safety. And I want to note the presence of our Bristol police here, our sheriff-elect, and others who keep us safe. We need to invest in our safety. We need to invest in the well-being of our children. We need to invest in economic opportunity. This budget does all of that. And it's about finding ways to incorporate the needs of people from all different walks of life, from rural, urban, and suburban communities, from communities here on the far eastern part of our Commonwealth all the way to those on the far western corner of our Commonwealth. And it's about finding a way in this divided government, in these challenging and polarized times, to compromise without compromising your values. I think what you saw here in Pennsylvania, as a result of us staying at the table and fighting for the things that matter most, we got it done. A little different than what happened in D.C. Here in Pennsylvania, we understand that standing up for your priorities ultimately leads to progress for people from all different walks of life. You know, I said at the outset of this budget process that I was absolutely certain about one thing that would be in the final budget document, and that is compromise. That it would show that everyone was going to have to give a little bit and understand the perspectives of others in order to deliver a whole lot for the people of Pennsylvania. We did that here. And as a result of our collective work, the good people of Pennsylvania are far better off. And once again, we showed that here in Pennsylvania, we can solve big problems and we can get stuff done. And so I want to thank Jim Prokopiak, I want to thank Tina Davis, I want to thank all the lawmakers from both parties who came together to support this historic investment in child care. And of course, Valerie, I want to thank you for opening up these wonderful doors here, these doors of joy and of hope and of faith. I am so grateful to you and grateful to all of the people that work here for what you do for our youngest learners all across Pennsylvania. And with that, it is my pleasure to bring up Madison. Now, Madison is just beginning her career. Wait, don't clap yet. I haven't finished her introduction. Valerie is a seasoned professional here and someone who is encouraging others to come in to this business. And Madison is a great example of that. She has made a commitment in her life to help our youngest learners, to be there for families, to give them the comfort of knowing that their kid is going to be in a really comfortable and warm and loving environment. And Madison, when we were fighting at this table to get this done, I didn't know you yet, but I was thinking about you and thinking about people like you and wanting to make sure we're investing in your future. So Madison, it's my pleasure to invite you to say a few words here. Thank you all very much.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I've been working in the childcare industry for over a year now. I'm 17 years old and still in high school. I actually went to Children of God when I was younger. I'm very grateful to receive the Employee Retention and Recruitment Incentive. My mom has worked in childcare for almost 16 years, and while I've always aspired to follow in her footsteps, I've been apprehensive due to the lower wages in this field. However, this new incentive gives me hope for the future of the childcare industry and makes me excited to continue this career, hopefully for a long time. Childcare might not be the highest paid, but it's incredibly rewarding. I love the children and coming to work every day. They always seem to brighten up my day. I appreciate the governor's acknowledgement of how hard we work in childcare to make sure our children are cared for, and providing opportunities to develop the skills at such a young age that will set the foundation for my career. I've already completed the 120-hour professional development requirement and my professional portfolio to earn my preschool CDA once I turn 18 and graduate from high school, thanks to the help of Ms. Valerie and Dr. O. I'm excited to see how the industry will continue to grow in the future to better serve both our children and those of us working in the childcare field. I love to see how politicians care about the future generations. I greatly appreciate the governor making this field a priority. I'd like to welcome to the podium Secretary of Human Services, Dr. Val Arkoosh.
Great job. That was awesome. Great job.
Good morning, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be here with all of you. I'm honored to be here with Governor Shapiro to celebrate this wonderful win in the budget. But can we just give Madison another round of applause? I got a chance to meet her before we came in, and I was just like, Valerie, this is exactly the message, right? Madison went here as a child, and now here she is, just about ready to graduate high school, back here working and thinking about this as her professional career. I really can't think of a better way to acknowledge and honor Valerie and the environment that she has created here, that children that came here want to come back and actually work here. And so with Governor Shapiro's leadership, now there's an even better investment to help encourage people to get that done. So this is such a win for a group of professionals who do so much. Early childhood education programs are vital to a child's educational, social, and emotional development during their youngest years. Early childhood educators provide a foundation that will benefit children throughout their entire lives. They are set up for success in school and in their own careers down the road when they have high-quality early childhood opportunities. Investments in high-quality child care programs pay dividends well into the future. I mean, think about your own family. It's not hard to find ways that we've seen our own kids grow and the experiences they get to learn once they kind of get out of the house and get to come to a place like this and socialize with other kids and just have a whole bunch of new experiences. Our dedicated, passionate child care workforce actually are the ones that make that possible. But the benefits extend even further. As many of us know, child care is a necessity for parents and caregivers who are going to work or school themselves in order to create a better future for their families. And to do their jobs well, parents need to know that their children are in an environment that is safe, supportive, and caring. And of course, without that environment, those parents can't go to work. When child care is out of reach, as you heard the governor mention, it hurts our economy. A recent study found that our state loses more than $6.6 billion annually in economic activity because parents cannot consistently access that high-quality child care that they need to enable them to go to work. And of course, this largely impacts working moms. The benefits of high-quality childcare to our kids, their parents and caregivers, and to our economy are not possible without a thriving workforce of childcare professionals. They are invaluable, and we must support the dedicated providers and educators who show up every single day for our children. Now, Governor Shapiro, I'm surprised he didn't mention this, is a parent of 4.
Yes.
And so he deeply understands that this is an important opportunity for all of our families. And this is why he prioritized securing this funding in the 25-26 budget. This investment is a win for all Pennsylvanians. Every family should be able to access high-quality, affordable childcare that allows them to go to work and invest in their families and their futures, regardless of their zip code or their income. With this year's budget investments, we're taking a significant step to make that a reality. So thank you, Governor Shapiro. Thank you to our legislators, and we're so proud to be here. And with that, I am honored to introduce my good friend, Representative Tina Davis.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I am so excited and happy that the governor came to this wonderful town. Thank you. I do want to recognize Betty Rodriguez. She not only works in my office, she's the vice president of Bristol Borough Council.
Oh, thanks, Betty.
You know, when I first got involved in politics, I was fortunate to have both my grandmoms alive, and they were both in their 90s. And my youngest, when I ran for state rep, my youngest was 10. I'm going to cry. And I didn't know if I should run. So I didn't. I threw my hat in the ring very late during that time. But my grandmom said it takes a village to raise children. And right here, sitting in front of me, are all the people that I trust, because you all have a role in all of our kids' lives. So I want to thank all of you first, and all of the teachers and the child caregivers, because I couldn't have done it without all of you. I want to talk about Val right now because I've known her. We can't figure it out, but I was here for her first graduation. Her, may I say, grace and poise and caring shines through with these children. And I didn't know if you noticed, but when you walk in, she plays Christian music constantly. So when you're out there and you're fighting what's going on in other areas, just walk in here and you'll feel good. She's been fighting for all of us and for the children and for the money. I see her in Harrisburg all the time, and I appreciate that. But I do want to definitely thank the governor and the secretary, because the last 4.5 months, as a leader in the Capitol, one of my jobs is to manage our reps, and they're upset. But these guys worked hours and hours every single day and night to try to get a great budget to produce for all of the working people. Governor Shapiro deserves a hand because he would not give up. It's a bipartisan budget, compromised, and I think we did great. So thank you.
You did. Thank you. Team game.
And it's my pleasure to introduce my friend Jim Prokopiak, who governs right next door.
Thank you, Teeny. Good morning, everybody. First of all, I'm one of the people she has to manage, apparently. So she takes some phone calls from me. I'm like, what is going on? But I'm so happy to be here today, and I'm so happy the governor is here. I think the governor has been here a lot, and I think that we always are happy when you come, and we're thrilled when you come here. And so is that you were able to get us across the finish line on the budget, because clearly, you know, many people were hurting for that budget. When we talk school districts, or we talk Bristol Borough schools, we talk Morrisville schools, other school districts, they needed that money. And it took way too long. But without your leadership, we probably still wouldn't have a budget. And so now we get to start for next year's budget, but that's beside the point. So, but I think one of the things we talk about and we've seen is that times are tough for working families. And it's not getting easier. And for many, both parents have to work. And when they make that decision, and it's not a decision that they make lightly, but they do it out of necessity. And because they have to do that, they need someone who's going to take care of their children. And there's a whole bunch of benefits of having that early childhood education. I remember as a parent, we made that decision, and it was one of the best decisions we ever made. Many of my children's friends were friends in preschool with, and my son graduated. The governor was at the graduation. He graduated with several of his friends from preschool. So, and our child care workers, they're not just workers, they become parts of the family. They become parts of I was at an event a couple of months ago, and one of the people there was the administrator for the preschool, and she's like, I remember all your kids, and I'm like, we remember you too. So it's definitely something, it's so important, and we have to invest in that. But this budget just doesn't invest in that. It also puts more money into education, which our schools need. It invests in working families all across the state, and especially here in Bucks County. So hopefully we'll have a smoother budget process next year. But in the meantime, I just want to say thank you again to the governor and for Representative Davis for dealing with me. I'm going to turn it back over to the governor for questions.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Thank you, Jim. I feel bad now. Dr. Arkoosh called me on it that I didn't mention our 4 kids who did benefit from places like this.
And your wife.
But yeah, the First Lady deserves all the credit. But no, I was just thinking about it because our thirdborn actually drove himself this morning. He's a new driver, so be careful out there on the roads.
Detail following him.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's been a minute since we've had our kids in a place like this. But, to Jimmy's point, our kids are still friends with those that they went to preschool with those that they were early learners with. And I think that is really special. Places like this really form beautiful bonds. And so I just want to say thank you, not just as a governor, but as a dad, for what places like this provide, Valerie. So you're terrific. And with that, I'm happy to take a few questions from the media if there are any.
Tom, do you have anything to live it down now?
Yeah. Governor, good to see you.
You too.
One question, I'm related and one related.
Let's
First,
start with related,
Okay.
and then I'm happy to get to whatever else.
so the state has offered these bonuses for various industries, police, childcare. What is the state doing to track their effectiveness and whether this is an investment to continue or change?
So we provide the incentives. In this case, it'd be about $450. And then what we do is we track who got it. Did they stay at work for X period of time? And was it helpful? We'll talk to leaders like Valerie as a recruitment tool to convince someone to come work in a place like this. Some of the data we receive is somewhat anecdotal, right? We're relying on leaders across the state like Valerie to say, yeah, it was really helpful in the hiring process. And some of it will take a few years to be able to track whether or not they stay in this field. But of course, we track all of that, and we're quite proud of the results that we're getting on workforce development. It's quite similar to how we track the investments we're making in VOTEC in our schools or in apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship programs to see does someone follow through in that career, or the way in which we've changed the hiring practices at the state. We did away with the college degree requirement, and now we have enough data after 3 years to know that 61% of our new hires don't have a college degree, and we're beginning to be able to grow in the areas where we were struggling to recruit from. Our Pennsylvania State Police saw a 258% increase in the number of applicants because of the way in which the incentives we've put in place and the way in which we've changed our hiring practices. So what we're seeing is really good data and really strong anecdotal evidence that the stuff we're doing on workforce development is working. And I would note that Pennsylvania is now the only state in the northeastern part of the United States with a growing economy. And a big part of that is because of the strength of our workforce. So the things we're doing are working. This budget builds on past successes and doubles down on those investments and offers new investments in the field of childcare, as we're here to discuss today, Tom.
And your administration just put out a letter on the Uzbek national who was arrested. DHS and some GOP members of the State House have raised issue with that. I'm curious if you have any comment. I know PennDOT's saying that, according to a federal database, he was cleared to get a CDL.
Yeah. So a letter was just sent from Secretary Carroll and Secretary Schmidt, I believe, from the Department of State. Anytime a non-citizen applies for a CDL, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is required to go and check a federal database in order to see whether or not that individual qualifies to be able to receive a CDL. We checked the federal database months ago when this individual received his CDL, and he was authorized to get it by the federal database. Ironically, we went and checked the database yesterday. He's still qualified to get a CDL. I know that there were some questions raised about whether or not he was able to register to vote under automatic voter registration here in the Commonwealth. Absolutely not. He was not able to register and didn't attempt to register. Look, I think there are real questions here. If you get rid of the political theatrics that I know most of the people are engaged in and you really look at the questions, there are real questions. The questions, though, have to be directed to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and this database that's run by Secretary Noem. They clearly are not minding the shop, and they've got to get better because every single state in the country relies on this database when making a determination as to who qualifies for a CDL. We relied on the feds before issuing this one.
Thanks, guys. We gotta go.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Thank you, sir. You got it.